I recognize the distinguished representative of the Russian Federation. You have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, colleagues, I'd like to congratulate you on your election to this post. This is, I think, a mark of a great deal of trust by member states. We count on your professionalism, objectivity, and impartiality. Resolution 76/233 of the General Assembly, problems related to the compilation of conventional ammunition, decided to establish this open-ended working group in order to develop a set of political commitments as a new framework document which will do away with existing gaps in managing of through-life ammunition, conventional ammunition. The position of the Russian Federation on this is well known. We consider that the issue of managing of ammunition should not be examined in isolation, separate from the overall context of conventional weapons. However, we are ready to engage in the work of the working group in a constructive way and look forward to cooperation with other colleagues. We expect the organizational session to be successful and will set the tone for the rest of the work. I'd like to specifically comment on the issue of the format and the procedure of work in our group. It's very important to organize this in presence, with delegates being present. This is the only way of ensuring proper diplomatic work by delegates, as we have all been able to see over 2 years of pandemic. Virtual or hybrid formats, in fact, avoid diplomacy of its content. In addition to that, there are all kinds of technical issues that arise. And the most important element of diplomacy is lost. That is personal contacts, including during various parallel events. In virtual or hybrid format, it's not possible to have fully fledged drafting or to adopt substantive decisions, and this contradicts the rules and procedures of the UN. We expect that all the other sessions of the open-ended working group will also be in presence format, and I congratulate colleagues that the additional restrictions that were introduced due to Omicron have been lifted. Unfortunately, the pandemic is continuing. The virus is part of our lives now, and we'll have to adapt to that. Now, in particular, I would like to just mention that during this coronavirus, no new restrictions were introduced in New York, and now previously introduced restrictions have been lifted. We in the UN must do everything possible to fulfill our work in full. During this session, we expect to discuss the agenda and discuss the rules of procedure of this working group, which will be specific to this group given the tasks set for it. In this connection, we would like to object against the proposal of the chair. Informal consultations which were held last week showed that there are differing views among member states. It's clear that we will need some additional time to reach an agreement, especially since Resolution 76/233 was adopted slightly more than a month ago. Now, bearing in mind the limited time and preparing the work of the group, we believe that it's important to express our views regarding the organizational aspects during this session, and to continue this discussion during the intersessional period. To rush events or to force delegations to adopt decisions on the fly should not be done. We are ready to constructive discussions on all these topics in order to achieve consensus on them. This is a principle that should be the basis of our work, not only in discussing organizational but substantive topics as well. The theme of this working group pertains to international security, and the task set before us, I think, is extremely important to all member states. It'll be very difficult to fulfill the political commitments undertaken by all states without adhering to these principles. We urge we urge the delegates to support our proposals and to adopt decisions by consensus here. The second point that is extremely important is that it's important for the working group to maintain strictly intergovernmental character of its discussions. This is dictated by Resolution 76/233. In that resolution, it's clearly stated in what kind of format NGOs can be involved in this, and I'll quote: "Time permitting, and if necessary, informal consultations will be conducted with the participation of the relevant international NGOs. This format is more than enough for interested states to listen to the views of these NGOs. What's important is for NGOs that are involved in these kinds of consultations to meet the criteria, certain criteria. The final discussions with member states are with member states who are. It's up to them to decide which NGOs can be involved in this process. We call on everyone to support our proposals. Thank you."
I thank the distinguished representative of the Russian Federation, and I see the delegation of Cuba asking for the floor. You have the floor.
Gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you, Chairman. We congratulate you on your election for this important post, and we wish you every success. The delegation of Cuba